Like I have the same thing with my daughter. She's got the red hair. It's almost like blonde hair like my father's. I didn't get it. So it's skip a generation and then come out the next generation over, right?
Gotcha.
So yeah, I you know, I'm not trying to hog this up though today, man. I just, you know, I want to drop mine in.
Indeed. No, we gonna keep it flowing. No, indeed, my brother. Go ahead, Rod.
So I'm glad he brought up the sequences of DNA and he connected it to the certain amount of energies and how the women used to line up the birth of the child to the alignment of the stars. That's all what you call esoteric, mostly hermetic doctrine of information, because hermetics primarily deal with genetics. In the genome is like a long radio station or radio receiver. Like you got a whole bunch of channels, right? But in order to get to the channel you want, you have to know how to align the DNA. The alignment comes in through aligning it with a zodiacal constellation. So this is the origin of the zodiac. The women figured out a long time ago before they made men that if a woman or a man, back then it was just a masculine energy or feminine energy came in at a certain time based on the winter solstice, summer solstice, and the two equinoxes. You know when they coming in and you know what energies you are channeling, right? So you hear him say that the prayers of the mother is answered through the womb. Well, what was your mama praying for when she was gestating you? Because she was programming your DNA. Because they told her she was praying for an outcome in life, they didn't tell her that when you have a child growing in you and you continuously pray or be in a high stated negative emotion, either way, which is ultimate calm or ultimate chaos, that's going to mold your child. Okay. This is part of the sciences that we teach the doulas about when they instructing the mothers to give them back this information that we talking about. So what the mother is doing by bloodline is they literally dialing in the sequence on the genome. And this is when you start getting, it's only so many facial structures, is 7 specific or key or root facial structures. So it's 7 to the 7th power of 7, right? Which is a 777 genome materialization, which means that it's each one of them 7s have 7 options to the 7th power of expression, right? So now if people are constantly being born, dying, you recycling or opening up frequency stations. The frequency stations is calibrated from a
say who else better to get to explain this concept of the wearing the wolves, because it ties into everything we've been putting out, everything Rob been saying about the black hand, you know, the origin of the vampires and how they came over here and pretty much sucked our you know, our blood, our life form. So everything, all this is gonna tie in together with the wearing the wolves. Now, that Rod, the first question we got for you to start off, we're gonna take questions from the audience too, because it's gonna be an interesting topic right here. And you know how Rod is this Rod Hayes versus the computer. You know what I'm saying? That boy Rod is a walking computer. I'm telling you, boy, that boy got books I ain't never heard of in his head. Right? So look, check this out, Rod. This is what we want to ask you, man, because everybody was thinking, because they gave us the concept of the vampires versus the Larkins. It's what they referred to them as. And it was like they said it was a war between those two. But we was under the impression that this wolf concept was actually wolves, but it actually was the natives on this land fighting against the conquistadors and other guys who were considered like vampires, bloodsuckers, taking off our land. So could you go into the first opening concept on why they started wearing these wolves and you know, foxes? I saw different other tribal headdress too that goes with the animal headdress. Could you go into that a little bit? Hey, Rod, we can't hear you, Rod. You mute. Hey, unmute. Yeah, unmute it. There you go, right there.
It's mutual energy exchange, right? In the cultures, different cultures, we dress like our totem animal. We use their skins in rituals, right? I mean, like the buffalo lodge, they make fun of them on the Flintstones. The buffalo lodge would wear buffalo pelts among the buffalo, right? They walk in the herd of them with the pelt on, and none of the buffalo would even, because they was familiar with them, right? And this is what was part of the catalyst for the buffalo hunts. The settlers believed in their legends that when they would be riding across the buffalo plains, that at nighttime the buffaloes turned into native warriors of a huge stature, right? This is the origin of your term skinwalker. In the Battle of Belle Isle with Chief Pontiac, they say he was assisted by some 7-foot tall wolf-like creatures that emerged from the darkness on the back of the island. Okay, now we know warfare now, but we don't know warfare back then, right? We see missiles and bombs flying across the sky on war reports, right? We was using nature as our camouflage. So the settlers didn't know the terrain. So they running into what they begin to term the skinwalkers and the werewolves. The werewolves come out of the deep south in the Louisiana territory, right? This is the old Mississippian wolf clan. When they dress up like the wolf, they finna go on a hunt, or in this case, they was going to war. And they had their outfits was made out of wolf pelts. You could still see replicas. You got any pictures you could show them what we talk about, Elder?
One I'm on the one I'm on the front cover, but I can pull them
on
up
the flyer.
Yeah, on the flyer.
Pull the flyer up.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me try to do that. Yeah, so it's like oh, just a second. Yeah, but so these guys, you said the guy, what tribe, what the Native Americans down south started wearing the headdress, the wolf headdress.
The wolf clan, the ones that they start calling the werewolves.
Right.
Right? Because when you look at it, it's they wear wolves as clothes.
Yeah, that's right.
And the word became fused into one word is where they tell you the story in Twilight. In Twilight, you see that the ones that came from Europe, those are the vampires.
Yeah.
It was at a land and they turn into wolves. Right? That's just the legend. Yep.
Let me put blow one up. Here we go. Like
that's a good one.
Like this right here. Yeah.
Okay, now they catch some of them in warfare and kill them, take their wolf pelts off. And when they go back to tell them what they look like, they remember these is dirty Moors we talking about. Blood sucking Jews. So they telling their brethren from their vampire club that they look like kin. and lichen became the reference to those ones with the dark skin and woolly hair that was the ones that wear the wolves, right? To distinguish them from the lighter tribes like these who had the similar practice. Some of them was the Coyote tribe, the Fox clan, right? Those tribes that use the fox as the totem, the gopher as the totem, and the groundhog, they all was mining families. Them was they tribal symbol. The trappers used to use the beaver as their symbol. When you look on some of the old seals from around Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, you see a lot of beaver and otter, not otter, beaver and muskrat symbols on the old stuff. That was because those was the tribes that was trading in that, and that was their totem. Remember, they came over for fur. Before they ever discovered gold, they came for fur.
So it's similar to like the feathers, barnet, wall barnet, but this right here just a certain tribe that wore the wolf on the head.
Right. Now this tribe might be standing there talking to another tribal leader that have the full war bonnet.
Yep.
And it might be another tribal leader standing there with this big, gigantic afro. Big tookie looking dude. Yep. And they sitting there talking war strategy from 3 different parts of the land. So when you go to the migrations, right? In the migration periods, they got what's called the Great Southwest Migration of Natives. Look at the years of the Southwest migration. You'll see that they was the same contemporary years as the Gullah War.
Right.
Southeast, my bad, not Southwest, Southeast. Everybody was going to Florida. I'm like, why in the hell was we all going to Florida? So then I go study Florida history, Seminoles.
Right.
The Seminoles. Right? And then they saying that runaway slaves. Them ain't no runaway slaves. They was soldiers coming from different tribes. And this is why the look of the Seminoles was so varied. This is where we was going to fight, all the way up into North Carolina. On the southeastern shoreboard, we were being attacked by the conquistadors.
Right.
In the Gulf, we were being attacked by the French Huguenots, which is the same as a conquistador. He just speaks French instead of Spanish.
Vampires.
Right. Now, they was using the bloodletting rituals because it put the people in a stupor.
Go ahead.
And then to keep them in a frenzy, and they can't never figure out why, because the blood ritual is done in secret.
Right.
So what's the rules of war? First blood. Blood in, blood out. Who's the first blood spilt in the American Revolution?
Abbas Crispus, what his name is? The dude that they wrote.
Crispus Attucks. At first, they used to tell us he was a Negro.
Right.
But when we started digging into his history, we found out he was indigenous, organic to the land.
Go ahead.
Right? So now, where will we find his blood if it had to be in a contract written in the first blood? Because they have to keep it in our minds that the first blood spilled was his. Right? So what would they do with his blood?
Write up the contract.
Write up the contract. That's the principles of the Babylonian blood magic system. Once they write it in his blood, they rewriting a new constitution similar to the existing constitution, and then they make the switch.
Okay.
Right? The switch takes place when the old constitution was out of Philadelphia. The new constitution will be controlled by the Brotherhood out of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So where will we find this Constitution? If you look at the Constitution in the George Washington Memorial, you will see that it's rusty color writing, which was the fading signature of the blood. So the life of the contract was a 200-year contract to keep us in the stupor, and we had to educate ourselves out the condition. The Rothschild said how they was going to stop us from being able to educate ourselves out the condition and know who we is and where the land we from and the people we fighting this conflict with, these conquistadors and these Huguenots, right? We gonna all be under one catch term.
Right.
So you got an indigenous catch term, which is Cherokee. This is for all of the varying different tribes, people adopted by the three main tribes of the Cherokee Nation. So they adopting whole families. And they need a catch tribe, a catch term, a term that catch under one banner. And this is why you got every complexion talk about their Cherokee. Okay, now, the next catch term would be the chiefs, which would be take their war bonnets off, right? Take their animal skins off, cut their afros off. Then you take the fezzes off, you take the turbans off, and then you give them all amnesia. And then you tell them to figure it out from there. The playing field is level when they gave everybody amnesia. So now somebody got to come along and wake the gods up that's been put to sleep with this conjure, which is all they really mean is wake up the chiefs of the land to reincarnate at a different time to overcome the obstacle.
Right.
But the term that they use is gods to indicate that the chiefs is more than the people. But that ain't how we see it. Ain't no big eyes and no little U's. The chief is the chief because he wanted the people.
Right.
He ain't the chief because he better than the people. He the chief because he wanted the people.
The people's chief.
Yeah. He family.
Right.
He comes sit at anybody's house and break bread.
That's right.
Right? He can spend the night anywhere on the land without having his own designated house.
That's right. That's right.
Because all of the people be glad to have the chief come spend the night over here, come spend a couple of days over here.
Right.
Right? So the chief is not the chief because he's better than the people. The chief is the chief because he wanted the people. And that he's shown himself to be capable of be recognized by the people as the chief.
Right.
You don't get the term by presidential order like the Dawes Roll was doing. Under the Dawes Roll, the president, if he wanted to negotiate a treaty, could declare somebody with no Indian blood, no native blood, no organic blood. He'd just declare him the chief and then sign contracts with him as if he wanted us.
Right.
And we fell for it for a long time.
Right.
But like Johnny Cash said, you can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. But sooner or later, I'm going to cut you down.
Right.
Right? So now, over the course of time, we start waking up because they was improperly maintaining the blood oath. And it caused the War of 1812. The War of 1812 gave the devil an extension. Meaning the enemies that came and waged war against us, now they got an extension because we start going to bloody war with them.
Go ahead.
Right? So when they get their extension, this is when you have Prince Hall emerging. Because he understands that they'll never tell us what they're doing to us. And he recognizing the tribal teaching tools that they're using to wake up certain people and keep other people asleep. Most notable thing they was doing is called sacrifice transfer. What the heck is the sacrifice transfer? It worked like this. You come to me, young elder, you got mediocre skills or pretty good skills, right? But it's the guy on the charts that's bar none the coldest to ever do it. But you get a contract with me to sacrifice him and promote you to his position, right? So we come up with a plan. We set up a strategy that you be the next representation of that energy in order for you to get to the top of the charts, right? So we take him out, blood sacrifice, blood in, blood out. Now the blood is on my hands, so you have to do the deeds according to the black hand tactic.
Great goat.
Yep.
Sacrifice.
So now the only thing I can do is make sure that I honor my contract with you by doing everything in my skill set to make you as big of an artist. Right? So, because I got the blood on my hands. So now I got to perform my part of the duty, but you also obligated to perform yours. And part of your obligation is whatever the secret oath agreement that you make. Only you know what it's going to be, because it's going to be something that they can use to bring you down if you get too big for